Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Atom. We're going to be doing a higher time frame video. We will also have a lower time frame video which can be found above. So check that out if that is more what you're interested in. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so we have price history here from April 2019, and because we don't have all the details here, we need to just be mindful of that there's always the potential that this could be a higher degree completed move, in which case we could see a move below this point. So we need to always be aware of that. Even though it's not my primary expectation, we just need to keep that in the back of our minds, here, that if we start to see more bearish structure, we could actually see much lower prices come into play. Like I said, it's not my primary expectation. So let's get into what I am looking at this. So we can look at this move in two ways, in my opinion, and that would be looking at this as a corrective move to the upside, in which case what we would be saying is that we have this move to the upside as a three-wave move for an A wave. We have this as an A, a B, and a C as a flat correction. And then we'd be looking at this next move to the upside to play out as either a C wave, which would be a move made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or alternatively a three-wave move, which would be looking to make this rather W, X, and this would be our Y wave. So there's two ways that this can actually unfold. So if we get a 5-wave move here, it could be a C wave. If it's a 3-wave move, it could be a Y wave. Now the one-to-one that we'd be looking for here would be this 83.56. Now if we did start to push up higher, what we could be arguing is we could see a move up here towards this 1236 at this 158, or this 1382 at this 235. And at an extreme case, if we're looking at this as a ABC, we could see a move up towards this 1.618 of this 446. Now it is also possible with this that we need to just be mindful that if we do come back into these highs, we need to be cautious and watch how the structure is playing out, because if this is either a WXY or an ABC, sometimes we can see truncation, and it could be quite an interesting level to see a triple top come into play here. So even if we do get a move back up here, we need to just be aware that we'll have to be looking at the internal structure here for more evidence that it's going to be pushing up higher than this point. So we just need to keep an eye on that if we do get a move up into those ranges. So now there's two ways that we can argue that the C wave is taking place. So like I said, it could be a C wave or a W wave. A Y wave. Now this is viable for as long as we continue to maintain this $5.55. Now what I would be looking for here is if we are looking to move up in a corrective move, what we could see is we could treat this move as an A wave, this move as a B wave here, and we could actually start seeing this develop as either a 5-wave structure here, or potentially it could even be a 3-wave structure if this is going to be W, X, and Y. Now if this is the case, what we'd be looking for as a one-to-one would be this 26.144. So this would be looking to actually bring us back into these lows. Now if we were looking at this as pushing up higher, we have the 1236 here at this 34, this 1382 at this $40, and then we have this 1618 here towards this zone of this 52.59. So this would be looking at it in a corrective way. Now it is also possible that this B wave is incomplete. So because we haven't actually followed through yet and price is sort of just dragging sideways here, we need to just be aware that if we do see price start to break down here and we lose this low of this 843, it doesn't mean that this move is invalidated. It could be that we're just still within this B wave. So as long as we actually maintain this low of this 555, and then we actually look to maintain this target box here of this 977 to this 707, we could look for this actually just to drag out and push this B wave sideways. So it doesn't mean that it's invalidated if we take this low, but it just means that we're not starting to push to the upside directly here. What we'd have to be very careful of is that we could also have something like this, where this is a C wave, in which case we're looking for that retracement now again. So the retracement box will be basically the same. It would just mean that actually this is actually starting from here, where we could see this move, where this then becomes an A, this would be a B, and then we'd look for that C wave to still play out. Now, I don't think that is what is going on here, but it is always possible. So we'll have to monitor this. If we take this this zone here of this 843, this would mean that this would have to be what's playing out here. Either that, or we would have a very strange flat correction in the middle here, which wouldn't make a lot of sense. So if we do break this level, we would have to be open to the idea that this is ABC, and then we're looking for this possibility of this as a B wave still playing out. Now the other way that we can look at this is that potentially what we could be looking for is rather a 5-wave move to the upside. So this would be looking for a C wave, where we could then argue that we've got this as a 1-2, looking for another 1-2 here, and then we'd be looking up for this bigger third wave towards the zone of this 52.59. Then what we'd want to see is a fourth wave back down. Now this would make a lot of sense because it would be coming and back testing this area, and then we would see a break to the upside for this fifth wave, which could look to push us up towards this 82.93 to this 63.20. Now if I overlay the other count, we can see that that 1-to-1 is here at this 83.56, so that would be towards the top end of this box. So that would be quite a interesting level if we are looking at this as a corrective move to the upside. So the problem that I have with this count is looking at this first move as an impulse is very hard to do. The only way you can really do it is you would have to say that you had something like this as a 1, this is a 2, you'd have to say that you had this is a third wave, fourth wave, and a fifth wave. Now it's not the neatest of counts, and because of that fact I don't really like it as a wave 1, but nevertheless if we do push up past to that 1.618, we're going to be looking out for that possibility of this actually being a wave 1. Now what I'm more interested in, because this has better structure, is the second count that we've got here. Now this second count here, what we'd be looking for would be this as a C wave. So what we'd actually be looking for with this would be that this would be a 1-2, and then we'd be looking for this third wave to the upside. So this third wave would be this $27 region, then a fourth wave down towards this 18.58 roughly, and then an additional fifth wave looking to push us up towards this 33.93 to this 29.45. Now this would be looking at this move as ABC effectively, because we wouldn't have reached that zone that we need to hit for that third wave. So this third wave would mean that this secondary 5-wave structure would have to move 2.618 of the wave 1, which is possible in a third wave. So I mean, it's always possible we could see some extension in here that pushes us up into this level, but just based off of the typical 1.618 move, this would actually be more likely to be an ABC in this case. So we'd have to keep an eye on it and see how the waves develop. If we get something like this where we get a 1-2 and maybe another 1-2 here, this would then tie into that idea of that extension, which could look to push us up into these levels. But if we just get this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, then either we're getting a bigger move where this is a 1-2, this is a 1-2, and then we're going to see a much bigger push to the upside, or this would just have to be a corrective ABC, in which case we'd have to be cautious of the fact that we could actually sell off again. So that's what we would be looking for with within this, looking for this C wave to the upside. The other way that we could look at this count from this low here is treating this in this way, where this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then looking for this as a fifth wave to the upside. Now with this, within this move, what we'd be looking for a B wave to the downside. So this would be treating this whole move to the upside here as an A wave. So because of that fact, we need to be aware that with this move up here, this is an A wave. What we would be then saying is that actually this move to the downside here has become an A wave to the downside, and we're going to get something like this. So we would actually be expecting a much deeper retracement here. So we've technically come into this zone of this 688, but if we're treating it in this way, where we actually complete into this high point here, what we'd be looking out for is the fact that we have a 5-wave move here. So because of that fact that we have this as a 5-wave move, we could then argue that this is going to be a B wave to the upside, and then we're going to see that continuation. So that would be looking at something like this, where this move would be an A, this would be a B wave. So the B wave rejection area would be this 1572 to this 2853. If we do move up above this 2853 and start consolidating above this, then it becomes more likely that the other count is in play. However, if we stay below this level, we need to just be aware that this is always a possibility where we could see this as a 3-wave move up before looking for an additional 5-wave move to the downside. Now, what we'd be looking for here, it depends exactly how high we come here. If we just came up here towards this 0.618, which would be this $20.10, what we'd be then looking for is the potential of actually pushing down towards this $2.53 at a 1-to-1. Now, we wouldn't have to move down to that 1-to-1. 0.618, which would be a minimum requirement, would be quite an interesting zone, because that would actually give us a double bottom here. Now, if we did move past that, we have the 786 at this 394, the 854 at this 342, and then obviously finally that 1-to-1 down here. So this would be looking at that possibility of actually looking to just break down here for the C wave. The higher we go, the higher this target becomes. So that is actually good for us if we do see price push up higher for this B wave. It actually pulls this 1-to-1 target higher up. Okay, so looking at the B wave internals here, what we'd be talking about is that we'd be looking at this as either A, B, and then looking for a C wave. So that we discussed that where we were saying that this could be A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that's basically just ABC, or alternatively what we could see is a WX and a Y. So what this is be looking at it in this way, where it's a WXY 3-wave move to complete. Now what I'd be looking for here, because of the choppiness within this, we'd be looking at it potentially as a Y wave, where we could also argue that we had some kind of a triple zigzag in here for this W wave. Now what we'd then be looking for off the back of this is we'd be looking for an A, a B, and a C to the upside. So that 1-to-1 would actually be here at this 1843, which would be a 0.618 of this W wave. So that would be quite an interesting area to keep an eye on, this 1843 to the 17037. Now a 1-to-1 would actually be looking to target out this zone of this 2624. And now if I overlay this is quite an interesting area because it would actually bring us back into these low points here, which would be sitting towards this 2573. So, anywhere within this range, even if we did move up to the 786, which would be sitting here at this 2853, potentially we could also even look to throw on the 854 here, which would actually bring us into these highs here. So this would be quite an interesting zone. If we did see an extension up here, we could see a move into these highs still before looking for that break to the downside. But there's nothing indicating that at the moment. Like I said, that 1-to-1 is lower down here, which would be actually looking to retest the lower end of this structure. So if we did get a WXY like this, what we would then be looking for is that C wave to the downside. And that would be looking to actually push us down, like I said, for that possibility of actually coming deeper into this zone here of this 688 to this 236. So we're going to have to keep an eye on the structure here. We're going to be doing that internals video or the lower time frame video. So make sure that you check that out if you want to know more about what I'm looking for here on the shorter time frame and what these need to do in order for them to validate or invalidate volume profile. So if we treat this whole entire area as a range, what we can see, which is why I also think it's quite an interesting level, is this value area high is currently sitting here towards this zone of this $21. So that would actually be looking to bring us back into these previous structure lows up here. As well as that, we can also see that we do have this point of control lower down here. So if we did have to still push down one more time, this could be quite an interesting zone to keep an eye on. Obviously, we do have some structure here towards this $4.12 and between the zone of this 640 and that 412. Which could be quite an interesting area to keep an eye on if we do push back down. The lows of these would be quite interesting to me. Now, if we did have to get a bigger move to the downside, potentially this value area low, it could come into play towards this 148. Now, like I said, it's not my primary expectation that we're going to see a push that deep, but we can't rule it out. So we need to just be aware of that. Now, if we just look at the upper area here, what we can see is that this value area high is just on this low. So if we did have to see a move down here, like I said, we'd be looking potentially for that 0.618 as a minimum, which would be on this area here. So if we did see a move down below this point here, technically speaking, that would facilitate the minimum we would need as a completed move to the downside here. So we need to just be aware that if we do take this low, what we could then see is that potential for a reversal, finding support on this, and then looking to move away. So this would make a lot of sense as well to me, actually coming back down, taking the liquidity out of this zone, and then looking to actually push up from this point. However, the other way we can also look at this is that if we do look to push to the upside, this value area high is also sitting towards this structure. So I would be keeping an eye on this. If we do see something like this as ABC, this could bring us back into the top end of this range. And then we could potentially see this come back down and reverse and start to move down again. Looking at this immediate zone here, we can see that we do have this value area low here towards this $9.72. If we continue to hold this, and even if we see an additional push down to this, I would be mindful of the fact that, as long as we hold this area, we could actually potentially look for this move to actually come back up towards this value area high again. Obviously slightly lower down here, we do have some higher volume nodes between this $8.98 and this area here of the $9.30. So we could actually see even that potential of a move down here, sweeping these lows before looking to push to the upside. Now that would still tie into that idea. Like I said, even if we see this low get taken, we could still see this price play out where this is A, B, and then C, and then we look to push to the upside, or even that this is ABC. We see this as a corrective move down, and then we still see a push to the upside. So it's going to be crucial that we maintain this low down here at this 555. But really, this one here is only, important if we're looking at that direct breakout. If we lose this, it doesn't technically mean we're going straight down. So we need to just bear that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. And leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.